I consider this chapter 3 of Istanbul on Saturday the 12th of April. I'm now standing in the Hagia Sophia, or the Hagia Sophia if it's Greek. Just to give you a sense of the immensity of this space, yeah, that's right. Yeah, right there. That's Stacy. This place is magnificent. It's huge. I mean, well, okay, give you a sense of huge, right? There's Stacy. And nope, not the ceiling. Not the ceiling. Not the ceiling. There's the ceiling. 55 meters, almost 57 meters in the air. This was built. This is a part that's stunning. It was built 1,500 years ago. Yeah, 1500. And as you look around, okay, yeah, there's a lot of renovations going on, but this building's ancient. But you know, there's like, the way this is supported gives it a sense of lightness and airiness. This is a cavernous space without, you know, being overly covered by columns and, you know, other obvious signs of support for what has to be an immensely heavy roof covering, you know, way up in the sky. All right, I don't know. Maybe this has been worth the time. Maybe you can see this pretty well in the camera. I don't really know. I just don't get the impression that this camera gives a good sense of the physical enormity of this space. Well, hopefully it does. All right, Hagia Sophia, take 2. It is also called the Church of the Divine Wisdom in English. And I just wanted to give you another view of this, and to, again, get a sense of how tall that is. These are normal-sized people, right? Reasonably tall. You do this, and you realize this building dwarfs you. I mean, it's just outstanding. But one of the things I wanted to point out is simply we're in the what's called the Semidrome in the back, and that's clearly very Islamic. One of the things to note is, while this building was built in 500 AD approximately as a Orthodox Christian temple, I should say basilica, or what was for almost 1,000 years the greatest church in Christendom. It was conquered in the 1500s by Mehmet, Sultan Mehmet, a Ottoman Turk, and hence it was converted into a mosque. In 1935, it became a UNESCO heritage site by order of Ataturk, the founder and president of the modern secular democracy of Turkey. And so that's why we're looking at things like the Islamic door there, and other pieces of Islam, coupled together with things like way up here, a mosaic of mother and child, and to that right is either Archangel Gabriel or Michael. I'm not sure which. I think that's Gabriel, because if you cut across to its mirror opposite, there's really nothing there, and that I think I read that Michael was mostly missing. Anyway, one of the things I've read suggests that upon its completion, the Emperor Justinian came in and said, quite literally, "Glory to God that I have been judged worthy of such a work. Oh, Solomon, I have outdone you." Well, hubris perhaps, but then he was the emperor of the largest empire in the known world at that time, so perhaps hubris is understandable. Okay, well, I guess we could call this chapter 4 at the rate I'm going. This is the Basilica Cistern. We're across the street from Hagia Sophia, and this was basically built, this was built in the 5th century by Emperor Justinian, the same emperor, the patron who sponsored Hagia Sophia being built. And this basically serves as a water reservoir for the city of Constantinople. The water was trucked in from a forest 19 kilometers away from here, which is by aqueduct, and it rested in this cistern, or reservoir, for use by the city population for fresh water. So we'll try and see if if my little handy cam here is sophisticated enough to pick up the atmosphere of this place. It's remarkable, but yeah, that's, I guess the only thing I want to point out is that blackness down there is not the floor. water. And that's carp, and apparently no small number of people believe it's good luck to throw coins in there. Okay, all right. So we cut from the fish, right? And want to try and see if you can make sense of the other colonnades here. It's really pretty nifty. One of the things I want to point out is, well, two things. One, the engineering marvel of this, to think that 1,500 years ago, they could basically have fresh water in a city of, 100,000 or so, using it, basically making that water portable for the better part of 10 miles. It's stunning when you think about it, especially when you consider in this current day and age you can go to places in various developing parts of the world and you see less technology than the ability to do that. The other thing that I found interesting about this place is right here, these columns and the tops of the columns. Well, let's see. It's kind of hard to tell, but maybe you can see here. But in the construction of this, it was done with recycling in mind. All of these columns were pulled from other parts of the empire instead of expending, the ability, the time and the hours on creating these columns themselves. Instead, were scavenged from broken buildings or pillaged buildings, trucked into Constantinople, and used to build the cistern. Yeah, I just find that kind of funny and frugal all at the same time. Oh, there's Hagia Sophia. We've just come out from the Basilica Cistern, and as we did that, we were right in the shadow of the eye, and there's a festival going on. I thought the traditional Turkish music that's part of the Tulip Festival would be of interest to people who are watching, so here's a brief little snippet of some public music in Istanbul. We're gonna go after that. Now it's way too loud. Now it's Sunday morning, and Stacey and I are embarking on our final explorations of Istanbul. We're back in Sultanahmet after a fun cab ride with an encounter with some guys who wanted to shoe shine my sandals for a few Turkish lira. It was not a fun experience. So anyway, I thought you might find Hagia Sophia majestic. Because especially as we come back around here, that's the Blue Mosque. Actually, I'm going to move a little bit because I think these trees are sort of in the way. So, of course, Turkey is the home of tulips, and it's now the time when they're blooming. But that's the Blue Mosque. Majestic. I figured getting this on camera was worth the time. Here we are on part 2 of Sunday. Wanted to pull the camera out here so that you could see the commanding view that the Sultan had in his home in Topkapi Palace. Not surprisingly, I cannot use the camera in any of the exhibits, and most of the buildings are relatively modest compared to, say, the Blue Mosque and Hagia Sophia, so it's not worth so much showing you these buildings. But instead, I wanted to give you a sense of the layout of Turkey. Not Turkey, of Istanbul, because Istanbul is a city kind of on 3 coasts. We're standing now in Old Istanbul. Over there, that's New Istanbul, and that's Europe. Over there, that's also New Istanbul, but even newer, and that's Asia. So to get to the 3 sections of the city, you literally are crossing, well, let's see, the Bosphorus, that's the Bosphorus there, river that is. This is a channel leading out to the Sea of Marmara, and on the other side of all these buildings, stretching way far that away, is Old Istanbul. And again, we are at Topkapi Palace, which is sort of the administrative headquarters of the Sultanate of the Ottoman Empire. And not surprisingly, most of the exhibits we've seen so far are all about adulation and the glory that was the Ottoman Empire. Alright, just as I was thinking I was not seeing stunning buildings and architecture in Topkapi Palace, the stunning stuff was inside the rooms, not in the outside of the buildings. Well, we get to this section. I'm not really sure what it's called, but it's pretty remarkable, from the ornate columns to the chamber to the tile work that's done on these buildings. Although I got a snicker out of this one. This particular building there. You go through that door, you go in that building, and it is called the circumcision chamber. It is literally where the crown prince gets circumcised. Well, back when there was a sultanate for a crown prince to be circumcised. Anyway, I just find the fact that there is an ornate section of the palace for that purpose somewhat surprising. So anyway, here's a quick little 360 of a private chamber area of Topkapi Palace, where the family and important members of the administration actually lived. So not surprisingly, their living chambers are, pretty stunning.